Thanks for joining us. We're going to do something differently today, Jared. We're gonna
little sidestep.
Yeah, we're gonna halt our usual programming, and we're gonna go for a comedy. Now, why did we pick this comedy, Jared?
I don't know. You tell me. Wow.
This was a
on it for
staple of
years.
our early 20s.
Yes, and obviously does have a connection in that, it was right around the time that Jennifer Love Hewitt was I Know What You Did Last Summer, so there was some crossover there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
We went to 2 movie marathons. We saw it in 2 movie marathons. Yeah.
Yes, and it wasn't the pick.
No,
It was just like the tacked
addition.
on.
Yeah,
It turned into our fucking favourite thing of marathons.
So, from my perspective, I saw this movie 3 times in the cinemas.
Yeah.
2 movie marathons.
Yeah.
The film that we're talking about is 1998's Can't Hardly Wait. Which is a coming of age / high school picture. So we're going to cover that, but we're going to do our usual sort of whip round and the like. Jared, you've been on leave, is that correct?
I have.
So you should have a reasonable resume here.
Yeah, I went back to work for 4 weeks and thought I needed a fucking holiday. So I've been off for a week.
All right, I've got a fair bit too.
Yeah,
to trawl through. So I'll kick it off. From the TV side of things, I watched the first season of Barry.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good. Darker than I anticipated.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, a lot darker than I thought it was going to be. Henry Winkler gets quite a few laughs. Overall, quite good. I watched the season Welcome to Wrexham on Disney Plus about Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney buying the Wrexham Football Club. I thought it was going to be a piss take, and it turned out to be really, really good.
Yeah.
Barring a couple of episodes where they leaned too far into having a laugh.
Yes.
Where I thought they sort of felt like they missed a mark on that.
Yep.
But other than that, I thought it was very complimentary towards the town, the players, the staff, and the 2 of them seemed like they actually gave a shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was pretty engaging, really. Like, the fact that Rob McElhenney especially was not a soccer fan, but was very much a sports fan. And
he's the driving force.
Yeah, the engagement with the community gives it some real heart. And the fact that the majority of it is actually the community, not those 2.
Yes.
And it kind of shows it from both sides, which is good.
And I did love the fact that they sucked piss with the guys at the pub and took their shit. Got told the fucking this isn't good enough and that's not good enough took it.
Yeah, got told sack the coach 9 games in. Yeah. Fuck, imagine if they'd have done that.
Exactly.
Given that we know where it's all gone. I also like that, they set up that bloke, he's one of the locals, and he starts going, I'm a painter. I've been a painter for, my dad was a painter. Yeah. My grandfather was a painter. And I fucking hate it. I was like, where are we going with this?
Yeah.
And he basically fucking sums up what this means to some people. Look, it works for the show. I also think this is why sports is fucking problematic for some people, because they say it means all this to you, but you end up taking out all your shit from the stuff that you hate.
Yes.
On, when your team's going badly, like, but both you and I have had heavy involvements in sport, still do. I mean, I'm fucking doing it every day of the week. I'm doing coaching and things like that with sports clubs, and I absolutely love aspects of it, but I also think there's a lot of issues with it. And I look at this and I'm like, if I was in that situation, I would probably be the same. You're looking for that outlet, but then you would also have all these issues that are just getting fucking spewed onto the players.
Exactly. And look,
but the show itself does a really great job of encapsulating all that sort of shit. And
I think that
really entertaining.
The 2 of them seem committed to it.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing.
Yes.
That's
I love when Ryan Reynolds came to shoot the commercial too. And the commercial's quite amusing, but then you get that trainer bloke going, this is fucking bullshit. We got a game on.
Yeah, I know, and that's included in there. I love the fact
that you see Reynolds going, or McElhenney or someone going, isn't that the guy that was... he's hugging him. A minute ago he was telling us this was fucking bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. So I really enjoyed that. I watched the first episode of Fubar.
Ooh, how did it go?
Shithouse.
Is it Arnie trying comedy again?
Yes.
It looked more skewed to the comedy.
Well, let me put it to you this way. It's basically True Lies.
Yeah.
just really bad. so it's like the CBS True Lies that they recently put out as well.
Yeah,
the TV
yeah.
series that got cancelled after a season.
I'll tell you when Arnie comedy works. When it's a cheeky grin and a quip in the midst of, like, ball-tearing action sequences. I'll tell you when it doesn't work. When Arnie's setting up punchlines. And
I know, because he doesn't know this is a punchline to set up. That's the problem. The only good thing in it is he's got two, like, offsiders in the CIA. I think one of them's played by the guy who played Trent in Friday the 13th remake.
Yeah, right.
And those two get laughs. Like, because they're the background sort of taking the piss out of him. And that works. But the show in itself, it doesn't work at all. And Arnie is not a good enough actor to nuance something. And his daughter in the show is the girl who was in Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, okay.
And she doesn't convince as a badass at all. Like, it's just fucking... It's so generic. I was just like, Arnie, what are you doing? I guess Netflix... It was the number one show on Netflix for 2 weeks running or something. So, what the fuck does Arnie care?
Well, that's it. It's another example of it's just...
It's another red notice.
Yeah. They're not making stuff to be remembered and they should be, because if you want people to continue to subscribe, 20 years down the track this shit's going to matter, but right now it's just we just want every fucking Friday you've got something new to watch with a big star in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't matter if it's fucking good or not.
This is a strange show that I found, a reality show I found on Disney Plus. Have you ever seen Forged in Fire?
No.
Where they forge blades?
No.
It was an offshoot of that. It involved using a knife to cut through an obstacle course. Guess who's the host, Jared? Guess who's the host?
Oh.
Bill Goldberg.
Oh, wow. How does Bill
Are you now thinking, I'll check this out?
No,
it's called Knife or Death.
I'm not.
How does Bill go? Initially, he was a bit clunky. He was doing a lot of yelling.
Initially, it was a bit clunky. Towards back end, he's a bit clunky.
No. He leads into it. Like, Bill's perfectly fine as host.
Look,
the premise is
you
just...
told me, here's a 5-minute YouTube clip of some bloke running through an obstacle course with a knife and Bill Goldberg
you check it out.
commentating it. I'd watch the clip,
yeah,
and I'd say, that was kind of fun. I wouldn't watch it again, though. You're telling me you're watching a whole fucking series of
Thankfully,
this.
it was 86 episodes long. And I'll tell you right now, it's fucking ludicrous. Like, it's ludicrous.
Can I just tell you,
I
believe last episode you were commenting on what I'm doing with my time.
Correct. I'm wasting it in this case.
And
I think me and my wife were watching it, and she just eventually said to me, "Look, I can't watch this anymore." She said it's just the same shit every time. And I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll leave it. So that's my TV watching.
Yep.
Now into my movie watching. I watched Fletch.
Yep.
The original Fletch.
Where'd you find that?
Binge? It was on Binge.
Yep.
And so is Confess Fletch, the new one.
The new
so
one.
I want to check that out too.
Yep.
Fletch is good.
Mm.
You know, it's Chevy Chase at his best.
Yeah.
And I heard he's a rampant fuckwit.
A real asshole.
Yeah, he's a rampant asshole, but that one works. Because it kind of actually does balance a little bit of drama with the humour.
Yeah.
It doesn't just go all humour. And him getting a proctological exam is fucking hilarious. The best part of the entire movie. I watched a shark movie called Maneater, also on Binge. Holy shit, Jared. Holy shit. If we're still looking for that Jaws successor, it's not here.
Yeah. I feel like I might have watched that one.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
I can't...
Bad special effects.
I recall the title. I think I may have seen it, but yeah.
Rubbish.
I
watched Torn Hearts.
Yep.
The Blumhouse picture about the country singers, the two girls, the country group who go out to their idol's home.
Yes.
And things get a bit weird. Look, it didn't work.
Excellent idea.
The idea was cool, and there were some things where I thought they were going to sort of nail it.
Yep.
But then they didn't. They just kept sort of... Katie Siegel is excellent. Like, it's a real good performance.
And can sing, too.
Can sing.
I actually found out, like, I didn't actually realise she was a singer until fucking Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
Where she did a lot of soundtrack work.
She can sing, but also the performance is nuanced. Like, it's fucking... There's something about the way she does it that's kind of like... Something's off. You know what I mean? Like she's hospitable, but there's something fucking wrong.
Yep.
And if she wasn't in it, I wouldn't have fucking even looked at it.
No.
I probably would have gone straight past it.
Yeah.
Even though it was a Blumhouse, I would have probably been like, well, I don't know.
It was another one of these ones. The thing for me was, I knew going in, it probably wasn't going to be a real winner because...
It's one of their dump.
It was Blumhouse, but then, it came as part of one of these TV deals that came up with another one, which I believe you might have watched as well.
Was that The Uninvited?
Unhuman?
No, I didn't watch that one.
I did.
But it's there.
But then, we hadn't heard anything about it, and all of a sudden it pops up on streaming. And it was like, oh, okay. So, going in, I was like, if it's a good Blumhouse one, we would have heard some buzz, we would have got something of it. But I agree. I thought her performance was really cool. I was engaged with the idea initially,
but it just kind of falls apart.
Yeah, it was a little bit slow, and I kind of got where they were going in the end, but it just took a long time to get there.
Exactly. I watched Deadstream on Shudder. That was really good. Yeah. Like, as far as those found footage type of films go, and it was almost a little bit like The Evil Dead.
Yeah.
But it was really well done. Like, really well done. So I was very impressed with that. Jared, me and a bloke at work, we're doing like it's action hero week.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'll say it's Statham week.
Dolph Lundgren week.
Lundgren week. During the last few weeks, it was Robert Zadar week. Because he went for a deep cut. So what did I watch? Samurai Cop.
Samurai Cop.
What the fuck is that?
Hugely entertaining.
Hugely entertaining. And why is his partner always going, ooh?
I don't know.
He's sort of, every time something gets said, he's sort of like, you cut to the partner going, ooh.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that was the one also where the guy had cut his hair and they brought him back, so he's got a ridiculous wig on in certain scenes.
Correct.
And Zadar, the most magnificent chin in Hollywood history.
He throws himself into a sex scene as well, which is very unappealing.
Scares you off, sex for a while.
I thought about cutting my dick off. But then I thought better of it. I felt like that was hurting me, not Robert.
You don't want to be too impulsive with this stuff.
It was only hurting me. Not even my wife was fucking hurt by that. She would have been like, "I'll cut the fucking thing off. I don't care."
I couldn't tell.
Oh, that's fucking low, isn't it? I mean, it's alright for me to lay the boot into my
pretty much scissoring anyway.
Jesus Christ. Off that. But there's also a scene where they're in at the hospital, and some fucking random nurse wanders out and says like this. So would you like to fuck me? It's fucking yeast.
And you say, well, I would, but I just recently cut my dick off. That's why I'm here.
And the bloke, of course, goes, yes, I would. Like that. And fuck. I was just sitting there going, I felt uncomfortable with that whole thing.
Yeah, that one's
It's a fucking...
It's a laugh, right?
It's a
little bit like Miami Connection.
It's a bit like Hard Ticket to Hawaii and that sort of shit. But I mean, it's very badly made.
Oh, shockingly.
Cheap as chips.
Shockingly, yeah.
And of course, Tubi was fucking up and rewinding little bits of it. Holy shit. It's a fucking 90-minute movie that took 110. But honestly...
So, did you jump straight onto part 2, which I think was also on Tubi?
It is on there, but I did not. I believe it's like just recently.
Yeah, it was only a couple of years ago.
Jesus Christ! And it's got the same
bloke. Yeah.
Just that one guy, or?
Oh, I don't know. I'm sure they pulled a couple of other people back in, but
no. We watched The Mother on Netflix. Classic fucking revenger, like The Equalizer or Taken or any of those. It just has a woman in the lead. House of Wax? House of Wax is an interesting one. Some of the wax, like once they get to the House of Wax, is kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Like that shit where he gets basically turned into a wax dummy when he's still alive,
Yeah.
and they kind of show the whole process. It's horrific.
Yeah. And the effects are excellent.
Yeah, effects are excellent. The whole wax, I believe they actually built the fucking wax museum, and then they melt it down at the end. I thought that stuff was great. But I tell you what, I cannot cop to. Chad Michael Murray's fucking sort of tough guy shtick. Honestly, people would laugh. Like, as soon as you start fucking giving me this brooding crap, we would just go, listen,
That's
can
not
you
you.
just hop on the bus and fuck off? Because we've had enough of you.
Yeah.
It's all right. So we then moved into, because he'd gone with a deep cut with Robert Zadar, I decided to go with a deep cut with a guy by the name of Oliver Grenier. French
Mistake.
French Van Damme sort of clone.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I watched Angel Town.
Yeah.
Fucking
Mistake.
shit ass. Although, again, these movies make me... I don't know what was going on back then, but he turns up, he's about to head overseas, he's about to fly out of France to America, become a marine biologist or something, and he goes to the cemetery
Yep.
to say to his dad, look, I made it or whatever, and this woman just turns up, I think it's his missus or whatever, and she's wearing a fur coat, and he says, what are you doing here? And she's like, I don't want you to leave, and then she just drops the fur coat and she's in the nude. And they start getting it on in the cemetery.
What's wrong with that?
Right, each to their own.
It's
Weird.
there's a lot of that going on in the action bits.
Yeah, I know.
It just didn't seem like they just couldn't go without, instead of just some bloke kicking ass for the whole movie.
Yeah,
they had to
that's
remind
a-
us that any woman that walked on the scene was like, ooh,
Yeah.
hey.
Let me tell you something though. Oliver can put his foot fucking fair up people's bums. No, make no mistake about that.
Yeah.
I think Oliver's...
Because he was another one that actually had legit.
Yeah, he had
martial arts background.
definitely legitimate, and looks pretty good on camera, even though it's not greatly directed.
Acting?
No,
No.
no. Can put his foot in your ass and break it off, but can't. He mangles the English language
Okay,
like Van Damme
okay.
too.
Yep.
So it was that he has that early Van Damme stuff, but he never sort of took off.
No.
He went back into some shit like Nemesis.
How did your friend take Oliver Grenier?
Not well either. He was pretty unhappy about
Called off action movie.
But then I told him, well, fuck, mate, you had me on Samurai Cop a couple of weeks ago. So,
Yeah.
And he said, fair. Fair, I'll get up with that. Went back to Netflix. We watched a drama called 4 Good Days with Mila Kunis and Glenn Close. Not particularly great movie. Not a lot really happens, but performances are excellent. Like, and it's kind of, it's heavy, you know, about, you know, a daughter trying to establish a connection with her mum while she's going through rehab, and she's been to rehab fucking 15 times, and
Yep.
so it's pretty harsh, it's hard sort of stuff. I went to the cinema to watch the John Farnham documentary, Finding the Voice. I tell you what, that poor cunt couldn't get picked up.
I know.
That guy could not get picked up.
Imagine having a voice like that. No one wants to fucking sign it.
Yeah.
I'll put it out right now. That motherfucker's got one of the greatest vocal abilities ever.
Oh, without doubt. Without doubt.
Couldn't cut a deal.
Oh, I'm not joking. That guy would be in the top 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Out there.
You listen to Prime Funzy.
Oh, fuck.
He can fucking hit anything.
Well, I told you about fucking anthems. Kind of a concert. I just want to reiterate,
You've never forgiven.
I've never forgiven.
Daryl Braithwaite.
I've never forgiven Daryl Braithwaite or the guy at the Gosling Bay shop who licked his fucking fingers before he picked it up and gave it to me. Fuck.
Gig. Good
Yeah,
gig.
great gig. You know. I got
Dickie Wilkins absolutely shit faced. Getting progressively more drunk as he introduced each other.
Yeah. And then proceeded to just leave the stage in a huff.
I'm surprised I haven't done it again. Adam.
Memo to Dickie. Get pissed after.
Yeah. At least wait till 9:30 to start kicking, like really kicking into it.
When someone says fucking, let's knock over some bloody a couple of shots at 7:30,
Yeah.
think better of it, mate.
You've got a couple of lines every hour
Great.
from 6:30 on.
Yeah, let me just make it clear to you, Dick. The more alcohol, the less the quality of the fucking vocal, the words are, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all been there. Don't think you're special, because you're not.
I mean, I'd imagine from the way you were talking, I was thinking by the time he got up to intro John Farnham, he was sounding like fucking Farmer Fran or something.
He was. The best part of it is a group of blokes behind us fucking heckling him big time. Oh my, give us another drink, will you, Ricky? It was great. I was in fucking stitches. But I will say this, Daryl Braithwaite, he sounded like he's had his throat cut. But Farnsey comes out, and by this stage, Jared, it's freezing cold. I've got fucking food poisoning from the goddamn dude. I'm pretty upset. All the performers have been pretty lacklustre.
Yep.
Vocally.
Yep.
The only one who still cuts the mustard, other than Farnsey, was Kate Sobrano. Fuck, you could have heard. You know what? You could have heard fucking Kate Sobrano on the other side of the fucking park.
Yeah.
It was fucking clean as a whistle. But Farnsey comes in. Farnsey,
in comparison?
Joe Camilleri, fuck off. Fuck off. But, so I'm pretty dirty by this stage.
Yeah.
Farnsey comes out, fucking goes straight into it, and I'm not joking, that guy's holding the fucking mic about a foot away from his mouth.
Yep.
And I could hear, he was, and everyone was fucking up on their feet. They loved it.
Yep.
So, the guy's a fucking weapon.
Yeah, so that was just a brief moment of absolute magic in the concert before it finished and no one could fucking get home.
That's right. 24 hours to get home. It was almost a fucking stoush.
What a gig.
Subsequently, it's never happened again. Fucking duck. It was a rough patch. So, it was a really good doco. It's just interesting to realise that this bloke could not get a gig.
Yeah.
With anyone.
Yep.
Yet his vocals were fucking unbelievable. And if and you know what, they actually fucking recorded You're the Voice when they shouldn't have, because that was a song written by someone else, and they actually had the guy who wrote it in there.
Yeah.
And he's like, they said, are you okay for these guys to record it? And he was like, fuck no, I don't want
That bloke?
No, John Farnham, I fucking don't know anything about him.
Yeah.
No, they're not allowed to. And then they did it anyway. And then he heard it and he was like, fuck. What's going on here? Well, even Marksy, they had Richard Marks on there.
Yep.
And his response was, who's this guy? He says, I hear him, and I'm like, who the fuck's this bloke?
Yep.
So the guy had a fucking fantastic... The man's a national treasure. Simple.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we're going to see the end of Farnsey sooner rather than later, I think.
Well, that's
the male. The male.
I mean, that's generally pretty good odds of that when you're in your 70s.
Yeah, I know, but you know, some guys punch through to 90.
Yeah,
I get the feeling that Farnsey's not going to make it.
No, look,
he's obviously crook.
He's crook. Yeah.
I don't think he'll sing again. I know that much.
No, I don't think he will. But Christ, I was surprised his voice hadn't fucking blown out before that.
I know.
I mean, I watched him. It wasn't that long ago. I saw him performing When the War Is Over in the 90s. Fuck me. The bloke was just ripping at the highest fucking register. And as you said, I reckon the mic was fucking 2 feet away.
Yeah.
And you could hear it clear as a bell.
And I saw a YouTube video with an American vocal coach.
Yeah.
And she's just like, fuck. This bloke, she's like... You can hear it. She says, you can hear all this like nuance and shit in there, and he's pushing to make it, the sound to give it a bit more oomph.
Yeah.
She's like, he's barely breaking stride.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not even breathing hard.
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, well, fuck. He must have just had the bloke's just a weapon.
Yeah, I saw similar about 2 years ago of an American bloke that loves like the soul music, and someone said him when something is wrong with my baby, and he hadn't heard of Barnsey or Farnsey, and he watches it, and Barnsey's going, he's like, oh, jeez, who's this guy? I love the growl in his voice and whatever. And then, you know, they sing the chorus. He's like, I've never heard of these. Like, how have I never heard of these guys? Then they get to the second verse where Fonzie takes over the lead vocals. It starts belting. He's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know. Fuck. Yeah, it was a good doco. It was a good doco. It
I'll
actually
have to check it out.
ended with a little bit of emotion too, which I thought was good.
Hmm.
And the last one for me, we sat down yesterday and watched The Whale.
So did I, and I've got a funny story, Adam, but I'll let you talk about it first.
Not a lot happens,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a slow burn.
Yep.
I thought the ending was really good. I think that's
Yeah.
where it kind of really finds its... You know, it actually digs into the emotion there. I think that's really its key piece.
Yes.
I think Brendan Fraser is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can kind of see why he won the Oscar. And I feel like that was like the perfect storm for him. He was back on the scene. It was a well-regarded film, working with, you know, a highly regarded filmmaker. And you know, he'd kind of had this interesting career. Him working through the awards season, especially with the the guy who was in Indiana Jones.
Mm.
They'd been friends for years and stuff. There was kind of a really nice thing about that whole awards season for those guys. But the performance is excellent. I didn't feel like it was brilliant,
No.
but I felt like there were moments that were really good.
Yeah, I agreed. I'll tell you my story about that. Was that your last one?
That's it. Yeah.
Good segue.
Yeah.
So, as I said, I recently had a holiday.
Yeah.
A friend of ours who, you know, we may end up getting on the show shortly because I've got a little challenge for him, but, you know, to toss out to him, had been telling me I've got to watch The Whale for the last little bit. So here I am propped up on the plane. My family was in a 3-seat and I was in a 4 across the aisle, so I'm sitting with 2 strangers. And so I kick off The Whale.
Oh, I think I might know.
Oh,
what this is going, Jared.
Maddie can understand how I'm feeling because my friend failed to tell me that 2 minutes in, Brendan Fraser is fucking furiously masturbating. I'm fucking sitting there. I've had to quickly hit the pause button. The lady next to me's kind of looking side eye at me, and I'm like, fucking hell! I've
should've
had to
gone
hit
like
the
this.
fucking skip. So I quickly fired off a message as soon as I got to my destination, going,
What?
"Thanks a fucking lot for giving me a heads up that I was about to be fucking hit with a scene of Brendan Fraser fucking jerking off." And yes, was
good
met
stuff.
with good stuff. That's good, interesting. But I agreed. I didn't love it. I thought same as you. I thought the acting was really good. I thought it was a solid piece. But and the ending hit a winner. But I'll tell you, I know there was criticisms of him playing, you know, a guy in the fat suit and all that sort of stuff. I actually thought the sequences of him eating was played like a fucking Simpsons episode.
Yeah.
I was kind of uncomfortable watching that. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, jeez. I don't know if that's treating people with the dignity.
No,
dignity
it
and
wasn't.
things
It
that.
wasn't.
So yeah, I can see a few of the issues around it. I've also got my own thoughts on, you know, the acting kind of conversation that was around that. But overall, I thought it was pretty solid. Another story on this one, I watched a film called Hoot, Adam.
Oh, is that a kids'
It's a
film?
kids' film. I'll tell you how this came about.
Oh, Christ, if you mentioned furious masturbation in relation to this
I
film.
was called in for a day at work,
No.
and so I got put on a particular class.
So you put Hood on?
No.
Because, fuck, that's how
No, no.
my teachers used
Listen
to
to
do.
this. Listen to this. I got put onto a particular class, right? I think it was year 6, and I got told I had a little note on my schedule when I walked in there that said no plans. Just talk to the year 6 teachers. So I was like, okay. But then I was put on a duty in the morning, so I'm fucking sitting there going, Jesus Christ, I'm not going to have time to look at the plan. I'm going to be up there fucking fumbling through a lesson. I get over there, and I get told, oh, first lesson, you're watching a movie called Hoot, because they've just finished reading the book. And I was like, phew, thank God.
Piece
That'll
of
go
piss.
right up to recess. We're watching a movie. Good. So I've put on Hoot, you know, done a little bit of crowd control, get through recess, I get to the next class, and the teacher goes, we're watching a movie called Hoot. We've just finished reading it. I'm like,
Oh,
okay.
shit.
So I spent 2/3 of a teaching day watching Hoot.
Oh my God, Jared. What's Hoot like?
It wasn't great. It wasn't a great movie. You know, it reminded me a little bit of something like Holes. Holes is a better movie, but but it was something like that. But anyway, more. I think my story was probably more entertaining than the movie.
Correct. At least you didn't have to tell it twice.
So I moved on to Unhuman.
Yep.
So I watched Torn Hearts and Unhuman back to back.
Okay. How was Unhuman?
Unhuman wasn't great. Wasn't great.
No. Another.
Yeah.
Well, you can see why Blumhouse has dumped this.
Again, it's just classic Blumhouse. It's the recipe, right? The idea has some legs. It had an interesting kind of bent to it, but I started to feel some problems coming along. My old friend from Halloween 2018,
your
Drew
mate.
Scheid, I believe
You
he's
don't
called.
like that guy, do you?
I don't love his acting. He played a prominent role.
What was the other movie that he was in?
And
that
the
we fucking hated as well?
the other lead is one of the actresses that was in the I Know What You Did Last Summer series.
Jesus Christ! So
She's actually a good actress.
So you were struggling.
Like, oh shit! But Drew Scheid, I just can't come around to him.
You can't come around to the
Can't come around to him.
The only time I can come around to him is when Michael Myers is impaling the car fucking wrought iron fence. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Michael Myers was putting a fucking wrought iron fence through his job, then I can go for it.
Yeah, no, I didn't like that one so much. Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah, what do you think
Got
of
to cinemas to check it out. Pretty much exactly what you said. Got exactly what I expected. It looked to me like they just said, let's take the Evil Dead formula, put it in a setting where we can shoot it for fucking $10 million or less.
And then just gore it up big time.
Gore it up. Get a few really cool moments.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just another fun entry into the franchise.
Yeah, absolutely. Really. They're not going too far outside of it too. Had a little bit of humour in there as well and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought it was pretty solid.
Another cinema trip, Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Liked it a lot.
I've heard nothing but reasonable things. I thought you would have gone to Fast X.
No, I haven't got to that yet, but I will.
I think the shine might have come off the Fast films.
Well,
financially
there's
as well.
two more.
I know, but financially, they're spending a lot of money on that shit, and it's not making the kind of money it used to.
I don't think they
$1 billion
spending
films
what
would be
they're spending
gone.
on it, but yeah,
they're gone.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, really liked Guardians 3. The interesting thing was it was detached from the whole Kang stuff.
Yep.
Like it wasn't part of the bigger picture, which I think probably was one of the things that hurt the Ant-Man movie a little bit. James Gunn always got some funny bits in there.
Yep.
The real winner is the Rocket Raccoon backstory.
Mm.
Excellent stuff. So, yeah, I enjoyed it. And I tell you, I watched Nathan Fillion in that movie for 10 minutes and he could still play Nathan Drake. If they continue to miss that opportunity, I'm going to be fucking fuming because
they've missed it.
He's still the man for it, in my opinion. I stumbled across a Canon picture with Chucky Norris, Firewalker.
Oh. Fucking hell. How was that?
Yeah, it was,
Is he similar to Artie? Doesn't know how to set up a punchline?
The big problem with him is they've got him yucking it up with Lewis Gossett, who's a better actor.
Yes.
But Chuck just seems unnatural when he's trying to have banter.
I don't understand. Why not? Why wouldn't you loosen up a bit?
I don't know.
Like, you don't have to kick anyone's ass, mate.
Yeah, you wait until you see... Well, you probably won't see it.
No, I won't.
Maybe. But I'll send you a couple of minutes of Chuck and Lou dressed as priests fucking yucking it up over some bloke who's supposedly dying.
But this is the thing. Chuck should lean into that.
Yeah, but he can't.
He can't.
I think he's capable of stretching like that.
No, he can't. He can't act. Acting's a foreign concept. I think to the guy.
So I then continued my fucking dive into the depths, and I came across another Barbarian Brothers picture, Adam.
Holy shit.
This one was the Barbarians.
As I said to you, I didn't realise they had more than one picture.
I had a couple, yeah.
Fuck.
This one was the Barbarians.
The Barbarians. So this was the sword and sandal.
Sword and sandal affair with their kind of cheeky humour.
So you're telling me those two buttholes are
making gags.
I'm gagging it up in a sword and sandal epic in loincloths.
Yep.
Fuck. And he,
You know, one of them making silly noises when he's getting horny and things like this. Like, sees a group of girls and starts
why is
making
that
noises.
comedy? That happens all the time. I know that there's a circus whistle whenever I get it.
No, I'm talking about him actually making these noises. Hooting.
Shit. I mean, admittedly, if I cut my own dick off, I won't be able to get any of that any further, so I better shut up about that.
I tell you, I got to the end of the movie and I was like, look, I did a little bit of scrolling. It's one of those ones where I'd see someone, I'm like, fuck, where have I seen them? So I jump on IMDb.
So you didn't really pay much attention
Well, I
to
did. I paid a bit of attention, but there was sequences of it where I got to the end of it, and I think it was a combination of that and just being numbed, my senses being numbed by Firewalker and the Barbarians. I was just like, what just happened?
What has happened to me?
I've got to stop. It. I jumped then into the Michael J. Fox doco on Apple Plus.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
The
mate.
first thing I've ever watched on Apple Plus.
Hell, at least it's worth watching.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
It was good.
Of course it would have been.
Obviously, the guy's perspective on life is hugely fucking inspiring. You know, he's been fucking
I guess it
knocked for
has to
six.
be.
Yeah, he's been knocked for six, and he basically just keeps on going. And I think the interesting part of this one is you see all the positivity, but you see some cracks in this one. Like you see him dealing with. You know, don't get me wrong, this is fucking hard. And they show some moments that are hard. They show this one bit where it's kind of encapsulates the highs and the lows. He talks about walking, because he still fucking tries to walk at pace. They show him fucking, you know, charging out of his house. And he gets on the streets of New York and he's fucking charging. And he's one of his sort of physical therapists is kind of walking with him. And, you know, this woman walks past and she says, "Mr. Fox, how you going?" or something like that. And he kind of turns.
He falls over.
Just says hello, and he fucking falls over.
Yeah.
He hits the deck, and the lady just kind of goes, "Oh shit," you know, and goes to help. And he's like, I'm all right. He jumps up, and then he kind of just smiles at her and he goes, "You knocked me off my feet," and kind of just keeps on going.
Yeah.
And you just get the highs and the lows. But yeah, I just find his perspective on the whole thing, because he's one of those stories where he just fucking had the world at his feet.
Yeah.
And then just hit with this kind of tragic circumstance, but he sits there and goes, "I don't want your fucking, you know, I don't want your pity. I don't want
No,
this and that."
I've had a great life. Whether or not, you know, it's going to end prematurely, if
Yeah.
it will. He has had a great life.
Yeah, and they show some of his family life too, and you know, just the normal stuff, like his kids telling him, we fucking text you and then we don't hear back for days." He's there going, "Well, I put a text together and then I read it and it's too fucking wordy, and so then I forget to send it. Then your mother gets in my ear, and next thing you know, I haven't sent a message back in 4 days." Like,
him and his wife been together for years, haven't they?
yeah, and I think he tells some pretty cool stories about how she basically told him, you know, not in these words, but your fucking shit stinks, pal. Like,
Yeah.
don't think you're king shit. And he basically said that's what I needed. That hit me.
Well, she's obviously fucking had to deal with a lot too.
Yeah. So that was in there. So here's where we really get into the weeds, Adam, because I acquired access.
Here is where we get the fucking weeds. You just told me to watch Firewalker and Barbarians. Holy shit.
But then
You can't get any lower, can
Yeah,
it?
so can't get any lower, but I acquired
Yeah, you
access.
can.
I acquired access to a new crop of films, Adam.
Okay.
So
what was in there?
Well, we kicked off with Phantasm.
Okay, well,
with some Joe Bob commentary.
That's all right.
Phantasm was solid. 3.5 for me. 3.5. I'm going out with a score for that one. But I remember just looking at it going, this is pretty weird. But having Joe Bob kind of always makes something a bit more interesting. But I actually really enjoyed it this time. Street Fighter, Van Damme.
Oh, right.
I jumped back into that. Mate, Raul Julia is having a fucking ball in that movie.
I know, and the poor cunt's fucking sick.
Yeah, he was.
That's the worst part about that.
Yeah, he was right at the end.
That was the end of his. He died after that.
Yeah, but fuck me, it was just a prime example of, this fucking game's really popular, so let's turn it into a movie that's got fuck all to do with the game. I mean, I know you needed a plot, but they stuffed all these fucking characters that were not even anything like. And since you get a bit more of a description, like I believe Steven D'Souza wrote the script and said, "Look, we got to go with 6 of them. Yeah, we can't have more characters.
Yeah.
And give them anything
And then,
to
of
do."
course, Capcom.
And Capcom kept coming back and said, "Let's make this person, let's squeeze them in." So we turned this character that was never the character. So this is how we end up with fucking Balrog and E. Honda as fucking cameramen for Chun-Li and all this sort of... It's just bullshit.
Okay.
Pure bullshit.
Pretty succinctly put.
Well, the movie sucks, but then if you had any affinity for the games...
You fucked that up,
You fucked that up as well, so no good. I watched Smile. Quite enjoyed it.
Yep.
Quite enjoyed it. It's one of those ones where the what it's trying to represent, the metaphor and whatever, is pretty clear. But it wrung a couple of pretty good scares out of there, and Kevin Bacon's daughter was quite good in the lead. Yeah. I got onto The Exorcist 3.
I've heard good things.
Yeah?
Or is it weird?
She's a little weird.
That's the one with George C. Scott?
Yeah, very wordy. Very, very good acting performances. Excellent acting performances. But she gets a bit strange when we start tossing out... There's scenes where it's cutting from the guy that played Father Karras, cutting to Brad Dourif as the same person and shit like this, that starts to lose you a little bit, and then they start squeezing in characters that weren't in there before to try to hit the Exorcist part.
Oh, okay.
Which, again, you go into the backstory and it came from producers saying, we need an exorcism. we're not going to call it this anymore. We're going to call it Exorcist 3, so we need an exorcism.
Because they were going to call it Legion, weren't they?
Yes. And, look, I liked it. I thought it was quite good.
Okay.
I would check it out if I was you.
Well, definitely better than Exorcist 2.
Yep. A bit of Rob Zombie fare. The Munsters.
Oh, you did watch The Munsters?
I watched The Munsters.
What was it like?
I'm going to give the bloke a little bit of credit. He's done a really good job of trying to capture the tone of the show.
Yeah.
And I thought the performances were quite good. Even his wife, who I've been critical of in the past, I thought she did the job.
Yeah.
But the big problem for me is, and I don't know whether it's trying to stick too close to the tone of the original, and I think it probably is, but the gags just aren't funny. I don't think I laughed once.
Right, that's very good.
That's a real problem.
Is it meant to be a comedy? Yes.
Yeah, because it plays just like the old show.
Right.
So I don't know. This is where I look at things like, how they played the original Brady Bunch movie and how they did something like 21 Jump Street, and say that's the way you got to deal with some of this stuff sometimes.
Take the piss.
I know he loves the Munsters, and I think that shows. I didn't have as many problems. Some people talked about how cheap it was and how it looked.
Was that on Netflix?
Yeah. That was the big problem for me, it just wasn't funny. Full Moon feature, or I think it was Empire at the time, perhaps. Zone Troopers. Number of cast and crew from Trances.
Tim
Thomason.
Good to have him back.
Art LaFleur.
Art LaFleur, yes. You said it was one of the better ones, didn't you?
Yeah, well, it's a really cool idea, and it's got that guy that stopped acting. He was in... He's a director now. He's a director now.
You've been in an Empire picture.
I mean, the guy that was actually putting a reasonable career together and then stopped acting, but now directs things like HBO shows and shit like that. Yeah. Timothy Van Patten.
Oh, yes.
He was in The White Shadow, and he was in Class of 84, and a really good actor. But the idea is just cool. It's just basically like World War II. They stumble across an alien in the fucking midst of the battle. Which, yeah, I think the shortcomings of the budget and stuff come up a little bit, but yeah, I had fun with it.
Okay.
I watched Weird, the Weird Al Yankovic story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, cool way to go about it. Like the whole idea that he parodied other people's music, so we're going to parody all these music biopics and fucking make it up, is a good idea. They stretch it too far. Like, when it's involved in the music industry and him fucking, getting struck with inspiration to write My Bologna and stuff like that, it's quite funny. But then it just goes way too far and starts trying to squeeze in this action movie stuff. And I was just like, yeah, I get the idea, but it's not working for me. So, yeah, I would check it out if if you're stuck on a plane like I was and that was on there.
Enough.
Another DC effort, Batman and Superman, the Battle of the Super Sons, the one based around their kids. Good fun, if you like that stuff. This is the big ticket for me. Well, I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. The Wishmaster series.
Oh.
I watched all of them.
Oh, God.
1 through 4. 1 is better than I remembered. And I think it's mainly because there's some really cool practical effects in there.
That's directed by one of the K&B guys, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kurtzman.
Robert Kurtzman.
Yeah.
The premise for the gin is pretty sound.
Yeah.
Like, it's just we're going to create all these fucking gruesome kills based on, you know, the old fucking monkey's paw, like, you know, careful what you wish for sort of thing. That all works, and I like the way that they squeezed in, you know, fucking... You've got Freddy, you've got a Jason, you've got the Candyman, you've got one of the guys from Phantasm that are all involved. So 1 and 2 were actually more fun than I recalled. 1's better. You know, it's another case, something like Hatchet. I think.
What about 3?
I think you might have mentioned Hatchet, but it's the same sort of thing where it's you're pushing for that territory and it's clear that you love that shit, but you're not quite in that category. Yeah. 3 is a fucking travesty. I mean, if Sean Connery quit acting after the fucking League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Jason Connery should have fucking quit acting after this one.
Sean Connery would have slapped him.
Oh. It's low budget. It doesn't do a whole lot with the ideas.
He plays the Wishmaster.
The gin, yeah. He's the kind of body that gets taken over by the gin.
Oh my God.
Fucking disaster.
What about 4?
4 was slightly better, but again, very low budget. It actually tries to come up with a couple of ideas of how to fucking get the gin, you know, fucked over by his own kind of what he's got to get out of it, which is a small win for the picture in a fucking in
a sea of shit.
In a sea of shit, yeah.
Okay.
So that was not good.
No.
And to finish it off, I finally watched Creed 3.
Yep.
Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. I think it's definitely on par with Part 2. And I hate to say this, but, like, obviously if what is Jonathan Majors is being accused of is very serious, and if it comes out that it's all legit, then the guy's got some shit to answer to.
Yes.
But looking at it just at an acting point of view, if he does not get roles again, it's going to be one of the great fucking what ifs, because the guy is just such a good actor.
Yeah.
So, I would hate to see that he's ruined his career by being a fucking arsehole outside of it. And I hope, there's a small part of me that hopes that it is just a case of this isn't true. But I'm not super confident around that. I think it's going to turn out that he's done some shitty things, and he's going to have to face the consequence of that. And I finished it off with, I rewatched Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
In
Reading to go and see Across the Spider-Verse, which I did.
Yeah.
Fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, okay.
The package deal, I think they're both excellent, but the new one was just fucking spectacular. And I think it's pretty clear that based on these two, it's clearly the best 2 Spider-Man movies out there. So I'm really, really keen to see what they're going to do with the next one, because this one was fucking excellent. So
awesome.
Yep.
I actually forgot one that I only watched today.
Yep.
I went back and watched Wrong Turn.
The original
2003.
one? Yeah.
That thing is a svelte 75 minutes.
Yeah.
She's quick. Yeah, it held up all right.
Mm-hmm.
I think it works out okay. I saw the remake was there, and I was just like, fucking hell, that was a real missed opportunity, that one. Started well, and then when we find out what they're being stalked by, I remember just laughing.
Yeah.
The cinema just going, oh, God.
Yep.
And then it spends another hour fucking around with that lot. So the remake, the original is lean and mean, and just simply the hills have eyes.
Yeah.
Just in the forest.
Yep. Which works to
it works to a degree, and I felt worked pretty well. All right, quick up or down, Jared, so we can get into this film.
Yep.
The Meg 2, the Trench trailer.
Yeah.
Debuted a couple of weeks back.
Yep.
This one's directed by Ben Wheatley, who directed Free Fire, and obviously stars Jason Statham. This is a big down for me. The whole thing just looks fucking ludicrous. And don't get me wrong, I hope they lean into it. That, to me, that's the only way to save a movie like this. You lean into the absurdity of it.
Yes.
And you play it for laughs. But the trailer looks ridiculous. And the Meg's not even a very good movie. The original Meg. Not. So here we are, cranking out a sequel to a mediocre film just because it made a shitload of money.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'm a down too. It just... The start of it looks okay. It sets up just one of those classic sort of... Here's a couple of minutes of what we're tossing out. This is the big bad right here.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I remember you just recently watched the first one and said it was a little better than you'd
No,
kind
it
of
was. It was a little more fun.
I just thought it was just fucking just forgettable nonsense. Like, regardless of whether it's got Jason Statham in there or not, it's no better than this shit that's going straight to... I mean,
More Man-Eater.
well, exactly. I mean, I think I said it to you. I thought I enjoyed Deep Blue Sea 3 more than the Meg.
Oh, fuck you.
And so I watched this and I'm like, it looks like it's going to be the same thing. The only thing, the same with you, I got a few vibes of Piranha 3D.
Yeah.
Where you see the people on the boats at the beach and stuff, but they did that in the first one and it was only fucking a couple of minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
And I see them fucking swanning around underwater in what looked like fucking space suits.
Yeah.
And I just get bad vibes.
And also there's 3 Megs. I mean,
Yeah.
for fuck's sake. I mean, come on. Once again.
Does that mean we're gonna have to sit for an extra half hour? It's gonna be longer?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It'll be fucking 2.5 hours long.
I don't want to do that.
No, I don't either.
I do not want to do that.
I mean, I haven't even seen it, and I don't want to do that. I don't actually want to go near it. But, and once again, I come back to, it's been 45 years since Jaws was made, and fuck, we still can't even... You know what? We haven't spat in the fucking direction
No.
of Jaws in those 45 years.
Correct.
Like,
I mean,
this is the
as I
most...
said, you said to me, why are we making this? And I said, because of Jaws. Like, still.
But that's the thing that gets to me, Jared. Are you telling, like, Jaws is a... Oh, look, Jaws is one of the greats, right? One of the absolute greats.
Yeah.
But we haven't come within a bull's fucking roar of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the only one that I find vaguely interesting of the shark pictures is Jaws 2. Like,
Yeah.
the rest
I
of them
don't
are just
know.
a shit show.
Don't know.
Fucking unbelievable. All right, let's take a break, Jared. Here's the trailer for 1998's Can't Hardly Wait.
Time to get freaky!
Their first night of freedom
He is the most dope guy in school. Yeah, and school's over.
was their last chance
Amanda?
to say what they want,
God, you're a hottie. Hey, can I see you naked?
do what they feel,
Maybe I should wear the hat. Listen here, Hootie. Hootie!
and be who they are.
I wonder how William was doing at the party. Can't feel my legs. I can't feel my legs!
Can't hardly wait. Rated PG-13. Opens everywhere June 12th.
Can't Hardly Wait from 1998. Written and directed by Harry Elefant and Deborah Kaplan, who did Josie and the Pussycats. It's produced by Betty Thomas, who produced I Spy, and Gino Topping, who produced the Fear Street films. It stars Jennifer Love Hewitt as Amanda Beckett, Ethan Embry as Preston Myers, Charlie Cosmo as William Lichter, Lauren Ambrose as Denise Fleming, and Peter Facinelli as Mike Dexter. It cost $10 million and made $25 million worldwide. Now, the fraternity on Trip McNeely's polo shirt is Delta Iota Kappa, so Dick.
Good.
Pretty funny. Now, because this is a nostalgia picture for me, just a quick look at what was coming out in 1998. Biggest movie of 1998. Highest grossing movie of 1998. What do you think?
Oh, fucked if I know.
Armageddon.
Perfect.
Saving Private Ryan.
Yep.
Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
There's Something About Mary. Deep Impact. Lethal Weapon 4. All of them came out in 1998.
There you go.
Interesting crop of
Yep.
pictures. So, let's dive in. What was your take on this one, rewatching?
Oh. I was the same as you. Like, there's obviously quite a fondness for this movie, so I may be speaking about it in more glowing terms than some people would. I would place myself very much in the cult film supporter kind of tag for this one, because it has lasted a lot longer than some of those other films and outlasted its kind of box office performance and that sort of thing. Yeah, I just think it's piss funny. Like, it's one of those ones where just start to finish, there's little lines coming out that are just making you laugh from the get-go. The big negative to it is the shit regarding Charlie Cosmo's plan and a few of the lines that don't play very well. And even at the time, I think we were looking at portions of it going, yeah,
perhaps not.
I mean, you're just aiming squarely at the gay audience there and kind of just,
not very respectful.
Kind of homophobic.
Yeah.
So there's the problems around that are well documented and kind of deserves a bit of criticism for that. But I also think in terms of a movie that just spends the whole night at the fucking party and focuses around a handful of characters. I mean, Ethan Embry's supposedly the lead, but he spends as much time on screen as the other people do.
Yeah, exactly. He really doesn't. After he gets there, he kind of disappears.
Yeah,
for a
and
period.
I love the way that they kind of bring out the characters of of William and Kenny and Denise and that in the party. I think that stuff fucking that works brilliantly.
Yes.
And so, I mean, I still sit there and I probably look at it and say she's a 4 for me, but I'd probably have to drag it down to a 3.5 for some of the issues and that crop up. And I know we've got a few to speak about with Preston as well.
Yes, agreed. I went for a 3. It didn't hold as heavily as well as it used to, but I agree with you. It's pretty much start to finish pretty funny.
Yeah.
I too loved the whole idea of the party. The final night of high school, used to very good effects in similar ways in American Pie. They take a similar approach, but it's only the final third that's at the party.
Yeah.
But this works in that sense, and I feel like it's funny throughout. It actually gets reasonably decent mileage out of the sort of the final kind of get together of Amanda and Preston.
Yeah.
I think that works really nicely. But you're right, there are some problems with that.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back on it now, where I would never have looked at it this way.
Yep.
Now that I see it again, I'm kind of like, Preston's behaviour isn't great. Like, what he's doing is not great. And I feel like the best part of the film is actually Denise and Kenny. I think that works a treat.
Yeah, I think that works.
And I think it works really well. Possibly because Kenny and his cronies, who I got a lot of laughs out of, they're played so over the top.
Yeah.
That it's hard to get sort of offended by that.
Yeah.
And then when we finally get to the actual person,
the fucking joke, really.
Yeah. It's making the joke of them. And then when we actually get to him, and he tones down his bullshit, we sort of see a bit more of him, which I feel like works really well.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm agree with you. There's a few little bits and pieces that I didn't like, but overall, 3 out of 5, enjoyable and good fun.
Yep.
Straight into it, great cast.
Oh,
a lot deeper than I remember it.
Yeah. Yep.
A lot of people who are barely in it who have now gone on to have really, really good careers.
There's a solid 10. I reckon there'd be 10 actors in there that you could find, possibly even more, that have gone on to have really good working careers in movies and TV.
Yeah.
Some of them don't even get a line in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was...
solid, very, very solid cast.
It's funny to go back to.
All give reasonable performances. I think they play to their strengths.
Correct.
I think.
Yep.
And they're clearly been, the actors who have had a bit of typecasting over the years.
Yeah, yep.
But I feel like it works out really, really well.
Yep.
And from that front.
Yes.
Soundtrack.
Bangers everywhere.
Yeah.
Fucking, it's better than anthems, that's for sure.
Fuck yeah. Well, I would have got out of the fucking place. Yeah.
You would have had fucking 2.5 hours to seethe with rage over the performances.
And almost get into a fucking punch up because I wanted to get on the bus ahead of some other bloke. but the 90s has not got a great reputation for music.
No.
I think it's fair to say.
No.
But I feel like this one sort of does a good job encapsulating that period.
Yeah. Well, the soundtrack is good. Like, I still go back to the soundtrack occasionally and listen to some of the songs on there, but there's a bunch that are included that aren't on the soundtrack.
Yeah.
That they squeeze in, and it's like the party, right? Every scene, one of these songs is playing in the background.
Correct.
And it kind of fits what's going on with the, in that particular sequence. Yeah, so fucking
Exactly. Yeah, and I
excellent
think the soundtrack actually gets a big tick for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've always loved the high school film. Going back to the John Hughes films of the 80s. But they were a different type. They were a different breed.
Yeah.
In a way, the John Hughes stuff was kind of like, and this is a weird hybrid of like higher brow, but then lower brow at the same time. He kind of mixed a lot of that. They looked at sort of things a little bit differently to this one, whereas this one's far more kind of loose in the way we're supposed to enjoy ourselves.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be like going to a party.
Yep.
And I think they actually do a really good job.
Yeah. The lead up to it is awesome too. Like the whispering through the graduation.
Yeah. The little things about that come up on screen.
Leading into their yearbook photo intros.
Yeah.
Intros, basically.
Which I thought
that stuff was awesome.
Yeah.
And I think that's used to really good effect to really quickly set up. Bang, party's on. And we're fucking right.
And we don't need to spend a lot of time getting to know their characters. We do it quickly.
Correct.
At the start, which I think is a really good thing.
Yep. And we get a couple of classic kind of, in that build-up. I love the kind of, Mike Dexter's a god.
Yeah.
Mike Dexter's an asshole.
Yeah,
all that sort
exactly.
of shit. I can't help but laugh when he's fucking going through his... Mike Dexter threw his little project away and he's like, it rained no more there.
Yeah.
And he's like, an eye patch I wore for a month.
Yeah. After he beamed me with this.
I went to a 3D film festival. I saw no third dimension.
Yeah, that sort of shit is
His
funny.
delivery of that is fucking top notch.
And the way we set up that connection between him and Mike Dexter and how he's been being bullied basically the whole time.
Yep.
And I think that's quite good. Now, there is a line early on where Melissa Joan Hart keeps roaming the party trying to get everyone to sign.
Yeah.
And she runs into Kenny and says, sign my yearbook. And he says, no time. He throws it away.
Yeah.
And she what's wrong with you people? It's about the memories or something. And one of his buddies turns to her and goes, bitch, get a life. Walks off.
Yeah.
And I was in stitches. My wife said it wasn't that funny. I said, I disagree.
Yeah. I mean, those two, they're up and down through the movie.
Yeah, there are moments when they're really funny.
They have
there are
a
other
couple.
moments when they're just kind of stupid.
Yeah. One of the other ones was I liked when they're fucking pestering some woman to dance and he goes, use me for my party, baby.
Yeah, he's got his leg up and that stuff's
She just
great.
fucking walks away. Like, yeah, I thought that was funny too.
Yeah. There are moments when they suck,
Yeah,
but there are a number of moments when they're really good.
Yeah. And Seth Green's character, while he's fucking playing that stuff, is highly amusing.
Yes.
Like, there's a couple of lines that are just... I've been quoting those fucking things
92%.
92%. 92% of women demand class or sex. What shall I do?
What is it? Which one of you 10 lucky ladies? And then he goes, hey, Kareem, baby, what's up? He fucking
classic.
walks straight past you. And then you hear in his mind, which one of you 9 lovely ladies?
Yeah. I also like the one where he kind of tells Claire Duval, he's like... You want to dance?
Yeah.
And she goes, I'm allergic to dancing. And she walks off. And then he kind of looks at a friend and throws out the fishing line and starts trying to reel her in.
That still makes me fucking piss myself.
And again, that comes down to Seth Green's performance.
His delivery and the way
his
he does
delivery
it,
of some of them. Especially when they start telling, his friends start saying to him, what 2 hoes, Kenny? Where's the 2 hoes?
Yeah, why are you going to waste my
flavour? Damn! And kind of walks off. Still funny.
I've got to be honest with you. Love Burger. That is my favourite part of the entire fucking movie.
The whole line.
You've got Donald Faison. You've got fucking
Breckin Meyer.
and that whole thing about why are you wearing this shirt? And then you're like,
If he's going to wear the shirt, I'm going to wear the hat.
and he says Hootie. He's called him Hootie, and then he's called him the fucking white artist formerly known as Prince or whatever.
I think I still, even to this day, I still find Anybody order a love burger?
Well done.
I still mind that. I don't know why. I just fucking burst out laughing. We actually at the it wasn't at the period where this was where we were still watching this shit regularly. I lived with a couple of blokes in a house for a while. We played some instruments. We were kind of going towards possibly playing some gigs and shit like that. And we said, if we do, what are we going to tell? And
Love burger.
we decided, it's got to be love burger. And we have to say, anybody order a love burger? Well done.
Brilliant. I also love that bit where they're like, what does he say? Something about, I can't remember what the line is, but then the response from Breckin Meyer is, that's not what your mother said.
Oh, yeah.
In your bed.
Yeah, she goes, you're a no-talent, posturing little smurf or something. Something your girlfriend said last night, in your bed. And so he rips his little fucking...
Yeah, he's coming back off and fucking hell. Then he's like, you guys are unprofessionals, and then he falls onto stage. Like, that shit is great.
Yeah.
Like,
Love
it's
it.
fucking
Love
awesome. I believe Breckin Meyer was supposed to be Kenny initially. He was going to be Kenny, and then
And I think
there was
Donald
some
Faison
scheduling.
and Seth Green got in because he was dating Deborah Kaplan.
Right. Okay.
I think so. He put them up for the roles, and
the reason why I think Breckin Meyer had something else on or something like that, so he couldn't do it. So
54,
they
something like
just
that.
put him into this small role here. But it fucking works a treat.
Yeah, so
Like, it's
good.
great. It's really great stuff.
Yeah. What about? I still love, getting onto fucking William going into the party with his little card.
Yeah. Don't touch the beer.
It's terrible.
The beer has gone bad.
The beer has gone bad. And then again, one of these lines where it just comes from off camera. You hear somebody go, "Tastes fine to me. It tastes like beer to me."
As I said to my wife, though, I've had a fair bit of fucking experience with getting shit faced, and nobody on their first time gets as drunk as he got, and still handles it as well as he does. Like, I don't know about you, but I get fucking blind and end up, passed out outside.
Oh, mate, the first time I got on it was fucking... I was drinking tequila for some reason. I walked out of the party somehow.
Walked?
Yeah. But I think I was a little bit... I can't feel my legs.
Yeah.
I had no legs.
Yeah. Were you one of those guys that in your mind...
I'll put it to you this
Were
way.
you like Homer Simpson?
Mate, I'll put it to you this way. If I had started singing Paradise City that night, no one's coming along with me.
No.
Like,
You were like Homer Simpson. We were having a couple of drinks at the Gentleman's Club. Scene missing.
yeah, yep. So it was something like that.
But
There's a couple of scenes that I wish were missing too.
I know, there's something you remember. Kenny's preparation for getting laid in the bathroom, piss funny.
Stretching.
Where he's preparing,
Kama Sutra.
he's stretching, he's reading the Kama Sutra. He then spills something on his fucking pants. he gets the hairdryer, and we go.
That's kind of like that's fucking kind of like humping it.
It's fucking great.
Also, just prior to that, as I said to you, there was a couple of lines that just get tossed out by
I also
no
noticed
one.
his scented candle was lit.
Yeah,
in there
yeah.
too.
But just before he runs upstairs, and there's that long toilet line. There's another one of these lines that just comes from nowhere that some guy yells out, "Let's go and pee in the pool," because the line's
And
long.
everyone fucks off.
Everyone just pisses off. I mean, that's the low brow you're talking about.
I know, but that's perfectly fine.
laughing at it.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Now, this is where I feel it gets at its best, is when Kenny and Denise are trapped in the bathroom together.
Yeah.
I think that stuff works really, really well. And in fact, you feel like you don't want to go away from it.
Yeah. And I think the part of it there is it's relatable because they start talking about... You start connecting it to fucking people that you've spent time with in primary school, as we would call it. And by the time you were in year 12, you fucking barely know.
Correct.
But you didn't even talk to some of these people anymore.
And I thought it was a really interesting way of looking at it. The way that sort of she sees it as he dropped her off, and he sees it as, well, you dropped me off.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Doesn't really put the blame on anyone.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just fucking kids growing up. And
Correct.
Yep.
So I really think that's the key part
yes.
of the piece, and I think that actually works the best.
Yeah,
And I
sure.
do have a real big like for what's happening with Mike Dexter. Strangely enough,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I feel like his character is underdeveloped because there isn't much to him.
No.
Because he's just a big dumb idiot.
Yeah.
But if you look closely at it, he's already falling out.
Yeah.
You can see it. Like his buddies
Well-
won't leave their missuses.
People are already looking at this guy going, he's not king shit.
Yeah, yeah.
He's just, you know.
He comes in the party slapping hands,
Yeah.
and then by midway through it, he kind of weirdly dances over to try and talk to one of the blokes about dumping their missus.
Yeah, yeah.
And they kind of won't.
Yeah.
Even though they sort of say they will, they won't.
No.
And
the
it's
guy starts
because-
talking about the fucking mirrors on the ceiling.
Yeah, and then there's a Pearl Jam concert, and it's kind of like, so Mike Dexter's no longer cool. Like,
Yeah.
it's just basically they've decided, well, we're not going to do what Mike Dexter wants because we actually don't have to
Yeah.
anymore.
It's starting to already work around to that kind of, you know, where you're looking at it from a real world perspective. And
Yes.
This person's just.
And even though you kind of see them together again at the end, the sort of the scroll that explains where he's at kind of fits the bill as
Yeah.
to what was going to happen.
Yes.
And the Trip McNeely thing.
Nearly.
The Trip McNeely thing, as funny as that scene is, because I love that, so I think Jerry O'Connell is fucking awesome in that
Yes.
sequence. He's only
Yeah.
in it for 3 minutes. But even what he says sort of foreshadows Mike Dexter.
Yeah, it's just basically laying it on the line.
Yeah. This is where you're going to be.
Yeah.
You're going to end up being me. And you think I'm cool.
Yeah,
But I'm
but
not.
Mike Dexter still looks at him like he's cool,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Trip McNeely's getting a bit of a buzz, like,
Yeah, yeah.
hey,
Trip
I'm
McNeely's
back,
going,
in the,
fucking, what?
I'm back in the small pond, you know?
Yeah,
like-
yeah.
But that sequence is fucking.
And when he goes, she's now dating a pre-med.
They're
They
all
all
pretty-
are. That was fucking hilarious. I was just like, yep,
so
yep, you
good.
hit the nail there.
Yeah, yeah. I can't even get digits from as a freshman. I loved it when he, as you said, one of your favourites when he starts.
There's women around here still
Nearly.
speak
It's like,
about
this
you.
is a sexual icon. This girl said still speak about you. Oh yeah. Which one? It shows the bloke for the fucking.
But I also
confetti.
love the opening to that is Trip McNeely. Trip McNeely. he's like, yeah, Trip McNeely.
Yeah.
Like, I love that idea. He's got a stupid fucking name. Like, it's just
Yeah, yeah.
everything about
Fucking
Trip
burps
McNeely.
and giggles.
Yeah, and farts.
And then
But he's just a dickhead. Like,
But then I also think, like, I always thought the end line wasn't as funny when he's talking about the fucking, you know,
Rubber
flip-flops in the
flip-flops in the
shower.
shower.
But then when you pair it with, you know, he goes, the best advice I can give you, get back with that chick. And he's given he starts to get a little deep.
yeah.
And he's like, oh, yeah, but, you know, if I could give you some other real good advice, wear flip-flops in the shower.
Yeah, I got warts on
Just
it, baby. Fucking walks off.
Yeah.
But
That
I
scene
like
is brilliant.
that whole idea that he's looking at this mirror of himself.
Yeah.
He's seeing exactly what he is.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
still thinks that guy's cool. But
Yes.
even Trip McNeely's telling him, I'm a dickhead. Like, honestly, I'm a dickhead.
Yeah.
So I really like that scene. I think that for some reason it works on a couple of levels because
Yeah,
it's
that was
funny,
cool.
but it also has a little bit of that
Yep, love a bit of that.
knowingness about. The Paradise City sequence always makes me laugh.
Yeah, quite
It's
funny.
cool because you roll out the Gunners from the 80s.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
great stuff. But then,
Especially when the bloke starts dancing.
yeah.
He starts going like, yeah, I'll be the band. And then he starts like, woo! And, kind of,
He's fucking gyrating. He fucking loves
and then
it.
he gets fucking bumped
This
out
is
of
the
the
greatest day of my life. He gets hit in the fucking head with something. But I really like it because it kind of then encapsulates William almost becoming king shit. He's become
Yeah, yeah.
Mike Dexter.
Yeah, yeah.
So I like that as well. And my final like, I just think the ending, even though I've got some dislikes about Preston's, but like the way Preston goes about what he's doing,
Yeah.
the ending where she comes to see him at the train station and he realises she's got the letter
Yes.
and he goes, oh shit, you know, I rewrote that so many times, you know, and he's kind of like he's apologising for what he's put in it.
Yeah.
And she just goes, thank you.
Hmm.
And I thought that was really cool. I thought that, and that's a sweet moment between them. And I think the actual whole sequence between the two and the acting of the two of them is really, really good. and
Yeah.
it works. It
Yeah.
sells the end of it really well.
Yes, I think it's, as you said, there's a few criticisms to talk about with Preston, but the way that the movie kind of plays that and the way where it ends up all works out really well.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it works beautifully for a teen movie kind of.
And he is the good guy. Like, that's the thing. And this is where it's hard with looking at his behaviour and what he does.
Yeah.
He's meant to be the good guy because all the other guys around Amanda are all sort of sleazy, or they're trying to get something out of her.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck. Wouldn't you job your fucking second cousin? Honestly.
Yeah, that was weird.
That guy that was a bit weird. But I felt like the ending kind of capped it nicely.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, obviously in the movie we get painted the picture that Preston's actually a genuine guy and all this sort of stuff. When you look at it, it doesn't actually look that way.
No. And that's
but-
because we don't have any preparation before it.
Yeah.
So that's the bit where that quick intro does
Even
you
a bit
wrong.
of prep. I think if we saw much more of what was going on with him, it still wouldn't have looked all that great.
No, it wouldn't have looked great. No.
But yeah, when you take it on the terms of this is a teen movie, he is actually, you know, he's the guy that we're supposed to be in line with. He is easy to kind of
Yeah.
side with because you see him with the scenes with Denise where you get the sense that he actually is a genuine guy, this sort of stuff. But yeah, we'll talk about the negatives to that.
Have you got anything else?
No, I think we pretty well covered it. I mean, there's a lot there's a lot of lines and shit that we could just keep going back to, but yeah, very, very funny stuff, I think.
I don't have a lot of dislikes, strangely enough, for
Look at
a
the hand.
three out of 5. But I'm just going to come straight to it. Preston does not know this girl one iota. Has not spoken to her, has no connection with her, has been in a couple of classes with her.
She doesn't know who he is.
She does not know him.
Yes.
So, what he's doing is basically what stalkers do.
Yeah. It's just kind of gazing from afar without having
And being
spoken to the girl for 4
infatuated
years.
with somebody.
Yes.
And saying that, I think, does he say he's in love?
He does.
That's not good,
No, that's right.
right? So looking at it from a different sort of perspective is that's not enough to get where we get to.
Yeah. So
It's
if
not
I'm
enough.
looking at it with what I think the filmmakers are going for and trying to give them credit for the things that they got right, it's like the character. It does take you back to those high school days when your world was just this group of people that you were seeing every day. And so there's this sense of, you know, he doesn't realise that there's all this other stuff out there. He's, you know, you have, your whole world is this school and a handful of people, really. And you have your high school crushes and all that sort of shit. But the flip side to that is, as you said, she doesn't know his name. It's like he's never spoken to her.
Well, he hasn't. He
Hasn't
says that.
spoken to her. And the stuff that he's going on with, for someone that hasn't spoken to the girl, he's fucking full of shit.
Yeah. Like,
They paint him as a guy who's smarter than this and who's, you know, friends with someone like Denise who would be telling him, come on, fuck. Yeah,
what are you doing?
You don't even know the girl.
Exactly. Denise would have been putting him in his place and saying, you don't do this.
Yeah. So talking about her like, you know, oh, my heart stops and all that sort of shit. It's like, mate,
You don't know
you
her,
don't
so
know
you
her.
don't...
So in real life, the film would end with the fucking spray she gives him outside the party.
Yes.
Like, you fucking want something, just because you say this, you want me to fucking drop my clothes.
But this is the thing, Jared. This is where the movie goes wrong. That you're basically saying that... And she gets all fucking worried when she realises he's the one she sprayed.
Yeah.
Because of the letter.
Yeah.
But the simple fact of the matter is that doesn't fix that. It doesn't change that.
No.
You don't know me.
The letter from someone that you don't know and haven't spoken to would be equally concerning.
Correct. And we're supposed to believe Amanda is a smart cookie.
Yeah.
You know, like they initially play her as being kind of like one of the in with the girls, those sort of girls that are a bit sort of superficial on that, but she's not. But her radar would be onto your...
Yeah.
And
Your
the
brand of
spray-
shit.
And the spray that you got would have been exactly what you probably deserved.
Yeah. She'd have fucking sprayed him. She'd have torn up the letter. She'd have left the party going, all of those guys I went to school
Can go
with a
fuck
scumbag."
themselves.
Especially the guy that said, remember when I danced with you in the sock hop? I had the biggest boner. I was thinking maybe we could...
I love the fact that he gives it sort of a length thing. It's like a foot long. Come on, man.
Oh, shit.
And unfortunately, that's not very well handled.
No.
And again, people would say you're looking at it too deeply. And this was
not really.
No, but this was the de jour from the 80s.
That's the hangover from the 80s that started to look a little bit on the nose.
Yeah. And it
Pretty
does,
quickly
but it
after.
still looks on the nose. Like, watching it again, I just felt like... And we probably just weren't at a time where we would have looked at it and said, well, maybe her and Preston struck up a bit of a friendship initially when she
Yeah,
got there,
look.
but then Mike Dexter came along, he swept her away, and I never got the chance to tell her what I actually thought of her.
Yeah. That stuff's... That's relatable. That's high school crush. But when it goes into the letter and pining for this girl for 4 years when you've never spoken a word
And the
to
whole
her.
thing of, I was the first person to see her.
Yeah,
we were
that-
eating the same pastry. What the fuck,
Yeah,
man?
That was...
Like, honestly.
But if you leave it there, if you take out the first person to see her,
Yeah.
if you leave it, she walked into school, she sat next to me and we were eating the same pastry, that works because it's like, oh, there's a connection
Yeah.
here. And then the connection's broken by Mike Dexter sweeping in, I'll take her on the tour.
Yeah.
Like, that stuff works. When you go into, as you said, I was the first person to see her, there was 4 years, and I've been pining for her and rewritten this letter and all that sort of stuff. That's where it's a little weird.
Yeah. It's been 4 years. I never spoke to her. I've rewritten my manifesto 500 times. I mean,
Yes.
you know, it kind of stinks a little bit of that.
Yeah,
Which
I
is,
think it does.
which it kind of sullies it again. Like, looking at it again, it makes me sort of a little bit like, that took a little bit out of it.
It took a little bit off it.
Yeah.
And I think back when we first became enamoured with the film we're watching,
I wasn't even thinking about that.
It was more like I wasn't looking so much at the relationships. I was too busy laughing at all the gags.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah.
So but that relationship doesn't work. William's two mates on the roof, they're superfluous.
Yeah.
Like, we could have done away with that.
Yeah, I get what they're trying to go for. They try to go for a few things that are kind of funny, but they're just...
And then we're also trying to bring in things like the X-Files and, you know, the whole thing about, in this light, you look like David Duchovny and all this kind of crap.
That bit was kind of...
Yeah, that was fucking weird. But
Yeah,
I feel like there was no need for them.
No.
And
I mean, when you see how it works, you
And you know
probably
what?
need to go back to the
you could have
platform.
cut that whole thing about them jumping down on them, chloroforming him and all that. You still could have had Mike Dexter being a nice guy for a second,
Yeah.
and those two getting arrested by the cops.
Yeah.
Just getting arrested, and then Dexter took the blame. You could have still had all that. You didn't have to have the chloroform and the plan and everything. It could have been that William was looking to get Dexter at the party somehow. Just get him shit-faced and make him do something stupid.
Yep.
So there was no need for
Well,
that plan.
you kind of
which-
need... the plan... You did need someone for him to fucking spill all that shit to at the start.
Yeah, okay, but he could have been talking to his buddies then.
Yeah.
But they didn't need to be involved. And then what they end up doing to them is just kind of fucking...
Well, it's like... I mean, if it's two dudes that want to get together, how is that fucking scandalous?
Yes, exactly.
Especially when the cop turns up at the end and goes, get these sickos out of here.
Yeah,
It's like, well...
that was poor.
Yeah.
Very
Why... You look at why are you saying that, it's essentially because they're two blokes.
Yes. So yeah,
it's sort of-
that's on the nose.
Yeah, that's...
Very much so.
That's, yeah. It's certainly something I look back on in one of my kind of favourite movies of the time and think, fuck, I wish this wasn't in here.
Yeah. And
Frankly.
same with the use of the term fag on
Yes.
several occasions.
Yep. Yep. Yeah,
Even though there's one where
I'd forgotten it was more.
I laugh at the way that one is delivered. The one with Mike Dexter.
And it's another one of these ones that comes from off camera. It's not actually a particular person delivering it. It's just a fucking line.
We could have used any word.
We used any word, and that's still funny.
Yes,
I
because
think.
we're putting Mike Dexter in his place.
Yeah, like you could have had the person say "dickhead" or something like that, and everyone giggling at him, and him saying, "I'll kick everyone's
That's
ass."
this room. Like that's where the laughs come from. That.
Yes,
But
yeah.
there's probably no need to use the term fag.
Yeah, a product at the time.
Yes.
Because I remember, at that time that was still going around school.
Yeah.
People would still use that word pretty freely, and it's like, we know better, we do better, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I wish that wasn't particularly in there.
Yeah.
Also, when when you look back at it, the story of, the two leads coming together, it's actually one of the weaker parts of the movie. I think, like, it's not a particularly high quality story. It's not a particularly complex story.
No.
But it's the reason that the movie works is because they handle the characters of the party so well. I think.
Yes.
I think that's why it all.
Because if it was just strictly about Preston's unrequited love for Amanda,
Yeah.
we'd be in deep shit.
Yeah, and
We'd
it's
be
like
in trouble.
you put that together, and when you take the party away from it, it's like guys like the girl for 4 years. We spoke about the problematic elements of that. Goes to the party, sees everyone hitting on her, fails to or makes the move at the wrong time, gets the spray, comes back later, and she's back around to it because she's read the letter. That's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But it's all the shit that the fact that they got all of the main characters, and I think the great part of the movie is that they spent so much time with each character.
Yeah.
I think if they had have ended up spending more time with Preston and Amanda, the movie's worse for it.
Well, the movie's on. It's not really that interesting because there isn't a lot there. Maybe we would have learned more about each character, but it would have been something where she was the girl that had issues at home or whatever the fuck, how they usually do go with these things.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been to its detriment. So I actually feel like they do the right thing by staying away from that as much as they can.
Yeah, I think so.
My last dislike is the scene with Jenna Elfman.
Yeah.
That's just, it seems like it's from another movie. It's kind of like a way to kind of, again, try and tap into Preston's love for Amanda,
Yeah.
but it doesn't work.
I don't mind it. Watching it back this time, it's not
that long
as I recalled.
Yeah.
And I actually like the part where she sits down and tells him the Scott Baio story, and then finishes it up with, like, if you love Barry Manilow, you get back on that phone and kind of.
And she's like, hang on.
That's the one part where they kind of, he goes, oh, no, and she's like, hey, Scott Baio, we've all got our things. Like, it's kind of.
I feel like it's not that useful for me.
Well, it's useful, I guess, from the perspective of he's fucking. I mean, he doesn't really need to leave the party, I guess, but it's the fact that he does leave the party, goes to the whole Barry Manilow thing, I think is a way to get him back there. But I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
And
I can see why people might not be as... But to me, it just felt like we could have done something else with him. We really could have. And I feel like I still wanted him at the party. Somehow we could have connected him with someone else or something like that who tells him the same shit. Could have been a stoner or a fucking... or Siegel and his watermelon.
Yeah.
That provides this...
old mate. I was telling him, see if I invite you to the reunion,
Well,
man.
that's right. Why couldn't he have done the similar thing? Like, it just felt like it took him away from the party to give him a moment. And look, I think the Jenna Elfman's good in that scene. I don't know if there's any other point to having it, though. I feel like we could have got the same information from someone else at the party because the party is the key element to the whole thing.
Look, I like the fact that she was kind of dressed as an angel.
Yeah,
It's got kind of silly nonsense that she's kind of swooping in when he's fucking at the lowest ebb and that sort of... But yeah, I can see why.
It just didn't feel right for me because the party is the key. It could have been fucking Melissa Joan Hart. Crapping on about memories and all that stuff and somehow connecting with him on that front. I don't know, but I feel like it didn't... It should have stayed at the party. Because Preston's barely at the fucking party.
No.
He basically rocks up within the first few minutes, then him and Denise split off because he's going to go and talk to Amanda, and then we don't see him for ages.
Yeah, you're right.
So that didn't go well for me. Have you got anything else?
No.
No.
That was it.
Happy?
Very happy.
Look, it was good to go back to it. I'm not going to lie, I haven't seen it in ages. It's finally on streaming, for Christ's sake. Again, a movie from the 90s, unable to get on streaming. What's going on?
Yeah.
But overall, I think Can't Hardly Wait still works for me. And I'm glad I watched it again.
Yeah.
I think that it shows a couple more little wrinkles that I didn't like, but other than that, I still find it highly amusing.
Yeah, definitely.
One of my favourite high school films.
Oh, yeah. Very much up in the upper echelon for me.
Yeah.
I think I've gone back to this more than any of the other 90s
Definitely. I mean, the 80s ones, even something like The Breakfast Club, which I still think is good, it's also got its warts.
Oh.
Looking back on it.
Well, that contains outright fucking sexual assault.
Yes, correct. So there are things about this one that I feel like the others don't have.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a constant... it has constantly amusing moments throughout. It never loses that.
Yeah.
Which I think works. But that was Can't Hardly Wait. We will be back to our regular sort of programming as soon as possible. You can find us on Podomatic, iTunes, Spotify, and all the places you get your podcasts. Send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. We're on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com, and Instagram at thrillmepodcast.au. Rate and review us on all the platforms if you can, just so we can spread the word on this podcast, getting it out there. Keep an eye on the Facebook page to see what we're going to do for our next film. But until then, take it easy, everyone, and we'll catch you later. Cheers. Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.